Here we go, episode 118 of the Hardline Sports Talk. I'm Michael Merlo. That is John Michael Masiri. Big time episode today, as we're going to start with college football. We'll talk about if the committee got the college football playoff right. We're going to go through the NFL a little bit, and the winter meetings are concluding, and there may be a big trade out there as we are waiting for the Juan Soto trade to be finalized. So we'll end with baseball just in case it does get finalized tonight. We're starting this at 9:45, so maybe by 10:30, 11 o'clock, hopefully Juan Soto is officially, not officially, but officially a New York Yankee. Make sure you are checking out our social media pages, liking and subscribing on the YouTube, and of course liking, rating wherever you get your podcasts on Apple Music and Spotify. Also, if you check out our Instagram page, we have a really fun NFL jersey giveaway, an autographed NFL jersey. Follow all of the instructions on the Instagram account. Enter to win. JM, long intro.
Yeah.
How we doing?
I'm doing good. Giveaway, not a scam, by the way. I know.
Is anybody
I know we might be, like two suspect-looking individuals, but I promise you, it's not a scam. All right, you could trust me there. I would never. All right.
Who asked if it was a scam or not?
I know the way people think, and I know. We're, like I said, we're two shady characters, so people might think that it's a scam, but it's not a scam. I promise.
Yeah, not a scam.
Wink.
You're
not getting anything. We're sending you an empty box.
Don't wink.
With a picture of Merlo autographed, worth 60 cents.
I actually made a joke about something really inappropriate, but kind of similar to what you just said there about 20 minutes ago,
God.
too.
Something else in a box?
Yeah. So anyway, no, autographed. All right. So let's get to some not NFL football, college football. We're going to start with, because we had some great discussions last week about what the committee should do in the college football playoff, and I think they really answered a lot of people's prayers here as they held out Florida State for good reason, and we'll get into it in a second, and they are putting Alabama in to play Michigan. Mm-hmm. Florida State has every right to be upset. Their players have every right to be upset. Their coaches have every right to be upset, and their fans have every right to be upset. But they got it right.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I understand. I understand the beef that Florida State has, that their fans have, and it's unfortunate. But honestly, it's just the way this four-team playoff is. There's always that team that's pissed off because they didn't get in. I mean, I could go over some of the teams over the past couple of years that haven't gotten in that felt exactly the same. I remember the whole UCF argument a couple of years back when they were undefeated, and that was, not as big of a deal as Florida State because UCF isn't even a Power 5 conference. Florida State's a Power 5 conference. However, I just think it's extreme circumstances this year. Of course, you have to talk about the quarterback injury. You have to talk about the ACC being, they're technically Power 5, but they were certainly the weakest Power 5 conference this year. It's tough. I will say I am very excited for these games, and I think if Florida State was in instead of an Alabama, I think it makes the slate less exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at the slate that we now do have because they made the right decision, you have two of the most historic programs in college football history. You have Alabama and you have Michigan. And then you have a really fun game on the other side of the bracket with Washington and Texas. Texas has never been in the college football playoff. Texas is now back, as they like to say. And Washington, who's proved a lot of people wrong this year throughout this entire year, and not a surprise that they're good this season, but definitely a surprise that they're in the college football playoff. That's a very fun and exciting matchup, too. And, JM, this is the first time, I think, in a very long time, we don't have that number one dominant team. Because Michigan's the number one team overall in the country. I will not disagree with that. Their resume stacks up against anybody's. But I don't believe they're a strong number one team like we've seen in the past. So I think this college football playoff is wide open.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you look at Georgia over the past couple of years, and I mean, they won 29 games in a row for a reason. They were an extremely dominant team. It seemed like in the first round of the NFL draft, every 3 picks, you heard University of Georgia come out of the commissioner's mouth, and rightfully so. It was an amazing team. But now I think you're completely right. Alabama, Michigan is, you could really just, I don't know what the spread is for that game yet. Have you checked? I'm not sure.
1.5.
See, yeah, that's crazy for a number one team playing a 4. We've seen over the years, the national championship last year was TCU against Georgia, and that was a 13.5-point spread. Just speaking to, TCU was maybe a little fluky, and Georgia was just so dominant. But it speaks to the point of why it's so close between these 4 teams. And you could really I think you're right. Michigan is certainly number 1. 2 through 4, I have no problem ranking those teams in whatever order you want, to be honest.
Yeah, it should be a fun playoff. I'm looking forward to it. And again, Florida State has, every right to be upset, I think. But at the same time, go look at the point spread against them in Georgia. And I think Georgia's got a legitimate beef as well. I mean, Georgia was one of the best teams in the country. They were number 1. The committee ranked them 1 for how many weeks? The AP polls ranked them for number 1 how many weeks in a row? And, they lose 1 game to Alabama, who was number 8, and now they get jumped down and Alabama jumps up. I think they have a right to be upset as well. It was a weird year in college football, and it kind of just finished that way.
That's why I'm always troubled with the 4-team playoff and what exact message is the committee trying to get across. Because we say, okay, do you put the 4 most deserving teams in? Do you put the 4 best teams in? I think they did a mixture of not doing either, if that makes any sense. I think that you had some deserving teams that didn't make it, like a Florida State is technically deserving. They went undefeated. They won their conference. And I agreed with not putting them in. But then, if we're talking the 4 best teams in college football, Georgia is without a doubt a top 4 team in the country.
Yes.
And they didn't make it. And listen, I get it. They lost. They should have beat Alabama. They were favored in that game. But like I always like to talk about when I brought up the Ohio State and the Michigan point last week, you can't control who's in your conference. And this isn't like you have great teams in great conferences, and then other conferences are notably weaker. And I know the Pac-12 was great this year. I know there was a little more balance. I know the Big 12 was pretty good. It's just a matter of the fact that the SEC is always a dogfight. And you put Georgia in a Pac-12, they're probably the Pac-12 champions, and they're certainly in the top 4 right now.
Yeah, it was a weird year, and I think we're going to be treated to a entertaining playoff. I really do believe that. The Heisman finalists are out. We're going to have Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, and Marvin Harrison, which, it's sort of a weaker year in terms of Heisman finalists, but I think there's a clear favorite at this point, but you can make an argument for everybody for sure. My favorite is Daniels.
Yeah.
I think Daniels should get it. I think Daniels will get it, but Penix is a fantastic story. Yep. Bo Nix had a fantastic year, and if they would have beaten Washington in the Pac-12 championship game, I think he would have won the award. And Marvin Harrison has been the best wide receiver in college football for a couple of years now, and he's just a special talent that's going to the NFL, and he deserves to be there as well.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure if Nix would have gotten it if he did beat Washington. I think it certainly would have helped his case. He did a fantastic job this year limiting turnovers. I think he threw 2 interceptions all year, which is remarkable. But the year that Jaden Daniels have, 40 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions is a phenomenal ratio. And he certainly had, I don't know how many touchdowns on the ground he had, but it was definitely, a decent amount. So I just think that Marvin Harrison, it's a nice little honoree for him.
Yeah.
That's about all he's got, and he's probably going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. He's probably going to be the first non-quarterback taken off
top 3
off
pick,
the board. And he's got a great, bright future ahead of him. But unfortunately, the Heisman just so happens to be a quarterback award, just like the NFL MVP is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And my Ducks, man. Tough ending to the season for my Oregon Ducks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Long Island Ducks for a second, because those are also your
Those
Ducks.
are my Ducks as well.
Yeah.
No, the Oregon Ducks, that was a tough loss. We'll see.
They got Daniel Murphy still?
No, he's with he finished the year with the Angels AAA team.
What about Valdespin? Is he still chugging?
No, maybe Ruben Todd will be back, and hopefully we'll have Alejandro De Aza will be back as well.
Oh, speaking about NPC baseball players just playing at random places.
Yeah.
I was looking up like Yamamoto's stats today in the NPB.
Yeah.
And looking at like his team, I was like, I wonder like who's on this team, whatever.
Oh God.
So you just see like a bunch of Japanese names, and then you'll just see like Gregory Polanco.
Oh, he's
like just like random. You remember Mike Brousseau, the guy who hit the homer off Chapman? Yeah, he's there. He batted 190 last year.
That's good.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah, he ended my team season, and now he's batting 190 in Japan.
Yeah, well,
that's fire.
When you have to face Yamamoto, it might not fare well for you.
Fantastic.
Michael Tonkin. Tomkin, whoever the Mets just signed. He played for the Ducks. I just realized that.
I don't even know who that is.
Big free agent signing for the Mets from the Braves. 1 year, $1 million.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get to Mets miss. We'll get to baseball in a little bit. Mets missed a big opportunity with Eric Fetty, though. I'm really pissed about that. But yeah, that's college football for you. We'll obviously, as we get closer to these playoff games, we'll talk more about them. But for now, we'll go in hibernation for a couple of weeks. Yeah. And we are set to talk about the NFL. And we'll start with the Kansas City Chiefs because, we've been debating for a couple of weeks now. You don't believe the Kansas City Chiefs are this powerhouse. You don't believe they should be the favorite in the AFC.
Correct.
And I disagree with you. I'm still on the Chief bandwagon, but I'll give you the floor here to tell me why you believe they are not.
Well, I mean, first off, you look at the game on Sunday night.
Not a great game.
Not a great game for them.
No.
And I want to start off with the quarterback because there's no doubt in my mind that if I was an NFL GM and I had to pick the number one pick in the NFL redraft, I would take Pat Mahomes with the first pick. He's the best quarterback in the league. He's the most talented quarterback in the league. There's no doubt.
Sure.
However, I think we need to stop with the whole it's Pat Mahomes, so the Chiefs are just going to be fine. It's still a team game. We've seen quarterbacks make the Hall of Fame without ever winning a ring, like a Dan Marino, who's considered one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. We've seen Drew Brees win one ring. We've seen Aaron Rodgers win one ring.
Sure.
I think Tom Brady has just sort of messed up this whole perspective where as a quarterback, you're not just, he's a great quarterback, go win 5 Super Bowls. Tom Brady had the fortune of having a great coach, of having a great defense. Nothing to take away from Tom Brady. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Pat Mahomes, this Chiefs team, as I see it right now, is not the same teams that I've seen over the past couple of years, and the defense is great. The offense is my problem. You look at the year Pat Mahomes is having right now, he might not throw 30 touchdowns this year, which is unheard of for him. It's a possibility that he doesn't. He's not having the years that we've seen him have. He's playing nowhere near the MVP level that he was playing at last year with his 41 touchdowns last year. And I think you're starting to see those weapons are just becoming more and more of a problem. I mean, I could already think about the Marquez Valdez-Scantling drop. That was huge for them. Kadarius Toney, game 1 of the year, messing up. They've had other weapons mess up for them. And I hate to say it because he's a great player and he's had a great career and he's no doubt a first ballot Hall of Famer. Travis Kelce is not the same threat that he has been over the past couple of years that he is this year. His yards per game are around the same, dipped a little bit. He's not getting in the end zone. That's a problem.
Yeah. Kelce's a problem. I think Kelce, you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm starting to notice it the past couple of weeks, that he's not playing the way we're used to Travis Kelce playing. I'll debate you on Mahomes here because, you know what? I'm looking at every great, the great quarterbacks you mentioned. You talk about Aaron Rodgers, talking about Tom Brady. You know what? If Pat Mahomes has and I'm going to put this in quotation marks because it's not a down year for most guys, but for the elite top of the league guys, down year. If Mahomes has a down year where he throws 4,000 yards and he completes 67% of his passes, and I think he'll probably get to 30 touchdowns. He's at 22 with his 8 games left. If he throws 2 a game, he's past 30.
8 games left. What the hell are you talking about?
5 games left. Excuse me. He needs 8 more touchdowns to get to 30. There we go. There's the math. 2 more a game. He's at 32.
Great math.
He's going to get to 30 touchdowns. He has a down year with a 95 passer rating. Okay, he didn't have the greatest year, and his weapons had an off year. I'm not going to kill Patrick Mahomes for that. He's still the best quarterback in the league in my mind, especially coming off an MVP season. He has earned that respect from me that no matter what happens, I trust this guy. He has gotten to the level of the Aaron Rodgers, of the Tom Brady's, to the Peyton Mannings and I guess this is going to sound different because really the only guy you could really trust in the postseason was Tom Brady. But I just trust Mahomes the way I trust Brady in the fact that he's going to get it done. He's just going to get it done. I think he's earned that respect now.
See, this is my problem of why I'm going back to the whole Tom Brady thing where we just are clouded by this incredible career that Tom Brady had. If I could make this show 3 hours long and give you a laundry list of all the statistics of Tom Brady in the playoffs and tell you that it's not just Tom Brady going out there single-handedly winning games. I mean, he had a top 10 defense for his career the majority of the years in New England. That's my point with Mahomes is think about it. He came into the league to a Kansas City Chiefs team that was already a year in and year out playoff team with Alex Smith.
Yeah.
They were a good football team with, by the way, one of the greatest head coaches of all time, who was already a well-respected head coach before Pat Mahomes. He never got that Super Bowl ring, but he was on track to be a Hall of Famer anyways, Andy Reid. Then Pat Mahomes, he starts, has a great year, MVP year, his first year as a starter. Fantastic. Not taken away from the guy. Chiefs, he propels them to that next level of the Super Bowl. Now, my point is, well, maybe the Chiefs are taking a little bit of a step back, and Pat Mahomes can still get this team into the playoffs. They're 8-4. They're on track to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs. But who's to say that let's ignore how awful the receivers are. Let's ignore how Pat Mahomes is not throwing the ball downfield at all this year. I think Eric Bieniemy's absence is an underrated part about this team right now, because Matt Nagy has Pat Mahomes as I talked about it in my TikTok the other day about Brock Purdy and intended air in air yards thrown. He's number 1 per pass attempt. Pat Mahomes is 31st in the NFL in air yards per attempt, only in front of Bryce Young. So he is not throwing the ball downfield at all. This is an offense that's lacking his gunslinger ability, and I think it's part of that is a lack of trust in the receivers.
Right, and I'm not going to put it on Mahomes. I'm going to put it on the receivers.
No, I'm not putting it on Mahomes.
And they're having a down year at the position. You definitely going to admit that, but I'm going to look at the defense. And the reason why I trust this team to get back to the AFC Championship game and possibly the Super Bowl is because they are 3rd in points per game. They're giving up 17 points per game compared to 22 last year, which was in the bottom half of the league.
Top 3 defense in the league right now.
It's a very, very good defense, and you know what? This year, the offense is struggling, the weapons are struggling, the defense is picking them up. And like you mentioned about the Bradys, and like you mentioned about Brady, in those teams. Yeah, Brady might have struggled a little bit in the postseason, but he had such a great roster, great coaching around him, and the defense. I think Mahomes is finally starting to feel that. He's had the great coaching. He's had the great weapons. He's had the great offense. Now it's been taken away from him a little bit on offense, the weapon-wise. And now defense, it's picked up, and it's very good. And maybe the defense is the strongest part of this team. Maybe the defense is the reason why they're going to get to the AFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. Because, frankly, Jay, I'm the AFC right now. I like the Ravens. I don't love them. And you're higher on the Dolphins somehow than I am. I like the Dolphins. I don't love them.
Well, one thing that we're not talking about is, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat Mahomes has never played a playoff game on the road. Mm-hmm. So right now, as it stands, the Chiefs do not have the number 1 seed. Now, their remaining schedule are the Bills at home, on the road against New England, home against the Raiders, home against the Bengals, and on the road against the Chargers. So not a tough schedule. I mean, Buffalo is going to be a tough game.
The rest of it's easy.
I think that spread's 1.5 right now. I'm considering picking the Bills in that game. I'm not 100% sure yet. This is really a do or die scenario for the Bills, and I actually want to put a pin in the Bills right now because I want to go back to Josh Allen while I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes. But it's an easy schedule the rest of the way out. But if Miami or Baltimore holds their lead right now for the number 1 seed, they both have 3 losses. If one of them can finish above the Chiefs, no more Pat Mahomes play at home every single time. You're going to have to see Pat Mahomes on the road, and the AFC is going to have to run through a different team stadium, and we'll see how that works out. I mean, Kansas City is known as being one of the toughest places to play in the league. It's a very loud stadium. Pat Mahomes has obviously a ton of experience there. That's all he's known in his playoff career. On the road, do I doubt Pat Mahomes as a quarterback? No, but it's a different test for him. And I don't see the Chiefs right now, like I'm saying. I think that those weapons, if I can make a prediction right now of exactly what's going to happen, I think the Chiefs season is going to end on their weapons letting them down. I think there's going to be a crucial drop. I think there's just going to be some sort of Pat Mahomes trying to force a ball. Because going back to Josh Allen now, my bad, we're not really treating Pat Mahomes the same as Josh Allen this year, and they have very similar numbers. I mean, the passer rating is basically identical between the two, and Allen's been more impressive as a runner.
Well, hold on.
But for some reason, because Josh Allen doesn't have the number 3 defense in the league, we like to say, oh, the Bills are a disaster, and the Bills are a disaster right now because they had bigger aspirations than they are supposed to be doing right now. But why do we hold Josh Allen to this, oh, he's turnover prone, oh, he can't, he's not to the level of a Patrick Mahomes, but Pat Mahomes is having 18 touchdowns and 10 picks, and it's like, oh, They're going to win the AFC. They're fine. He's great.
I'm not having the casual conversation. The casual conversation is Allen's having a bad year. I'm not even getting into that conversation. I'm just not having it. I'm not having it. So
I don't think Allen's having a bad year.
No, I know, and I'm saying you're saying people would.
Yeah, there's no point. Yeah, he's not having a bad year.
He's not having a bad year. Mahomes
you can make an argument that Josh Allen's the MVP right now. I mean, I don't think he is, but I understand the argument. He's the only one keeping that team afloat.
Mahomes isn't having his best season, and their numbers are similar, but Allen's not having a bad year. And in terms of the quarterback play we've seen this season, neither is Patrick Mahomes. So I'm not going to get into that where, because I saw Mike Greenberg, he was getting on one of his producers the other day. They, had in the rundown, how many picks is Josh Allen going to throw this week? And
ridiculous.
He flipped out. And rightfully so. I mean, we're disrespecting Josh Allen for really no reason, just because his coach is terrible and everything's on fire besides him. Yeah, let's just blame the quarterback. And you know what, the quarterback's going to get blamed.
And Mahomes lost them that game on Sunday night with that interception in the fourth quarter.
Yes, he did. It was again, I don't want to make excuses for the Chiefs, but Packers are a hot team. They've been playing really well. It's a tough place to play, prime time. And a mistake's made right there, and they lose the game. I'm not making excuses, but it's not like that was a terrible loss for the Chiefs. Not like, it wasn't a terrible loss. I'm not going to get on them for that.
Right.
But you just very quickly, I wanted to get to, we're talking about number 1 seeds. This is the Dolphins' schedule. They got the Titans and the Jets. So they have 2 wins, and then we get a little tough. Then we play at home against Dallas, at Baltimore, and home against the Bills.
Yeah, that's really tough.
That's a tough end to the year. The Ravens, their schedule to end the year, they just had the bye week. They play the Rams this week, at the Jaguars, at San Francisco, Miami, like I said, and Pittsburgh, which is always a tough game.
Yeah, they're
so both of their schedules.
They're out. I think the Dolphins have a better chance of the number 1 seed than the Ravens.
Both of those schedules would favor the Chiefs into hosting all of their playoff games once again, and then the AFC going through.
Not for nothing. Again. This schedule of the Chiefs is like a freaking cakewalk, though. The whole season is. I mean, Lions Jaguars was that's the tougher part. They went 1-1 in those games. And you had Bears, Jets, Vikings, Broncos, Chargers was 5 straight wins for them.
Yeah,
Broncos and then Dolphins and Eagles. They split that. Raiders, Packers, the rest of the Packers. It's just there's not a lot of. You look at a team like you're talking about Miami now with the slate at the end of the year. The Bills' schedule has been ridiculous.
They've played such tough schedules over the past few years, and now they're playing the weaker. They're playing the weaker division. They're playing a weak division in the NFC North, and I'm blanking on whatever other division they're playing.
The
AFC East, so they got 2 easy wins there, and then the 2 other games.
Just to wrap up the whole Chiefs conversation, it's just I think that we need to stop looking at the Chiefs through the Pat Mahomes lens and being they have Pat Mahomes, they're going to be fine. Let's not just act like they're going to cakewalk their way to the Super Bowl because they have the best quarterback in the league. That's not the way it always works.
Well, if they figure it out and they put it together the next 5 weeks of this season, where the weapons can sort of figure it out. I like Rashid Rice. I like him. I think he could. Yeah, no,
he's actually, not that PFF really matters, but he's like a top 5 graded rookie overall from PFF this year. He's having a great year.
You like what you see from him? Can a couple of these receivers figure it out? And Kelsey get his head out of his ass? Yeah. We'll see if down the stretch that happens. The NFC, wow. What a beatdown that JM and I predicted in Philadelphia over the weekend. Where it was just my mood. The rest of that day to start the week, I can't tell you how great it was to watch that team go down and get beat down the way they did. Well, they got smacked in the face.
Let's get into it. Let's get into why did they get beat down?
Because they suck.
Well, it's not because they suck. I take away.
So dry.
Jesus, kid's friggin' parched. My biggest takeaway here is less about how the Eagles aren't as good as we thought, more about just how freaking good San Francisco is. I mean, this team is just top to bottom loaded, And it seems like that offense is just getting even better and better every week. It's like I really look right now. I know the Dolphins are the number one offense, and I know the Cowboys are they might even be tied. They're like the two best offenses in football.
Sure.
Right now, if I had to pick an offense, San Fran is maybe number one.
Well, let's go through it. Do you remember they started
21st 9 September?
No. They started 5-0, right? And we came on this show and looked at their schedule and said,
17-0.
What game are they going to lose?
Yeah.
What game are they going to lose? Yeah. And that was a conversation throughout, the national media.
Mm-hmm.
Which game were they going to lose? That's how dominant they looked. And then a couple of guys got hurt. A couple of key guys on that team got hurt. Purdy suffered a concussion late in the Viking game in which he got hurt, and after that he threw a couple interceptions because he played through it, and they lost the game, and they lost a couple other games because he might have still been having lingering effects from the concussion. And again, his left tackle was out. One of his best playmakers were out at the same time, and they lost a couple of games in a row. And people were like, I'm a little worried about them. And they got these guys back, Purdy back. They came out of the bye, and look at how strong they are.
Fantastic.
They are seriously so dominant, and I don't think there's a team close to them at the moment in the entire league, and rightfully so.
I'm waiting till after Sunday to really have confidence in this statement. I do think that Dallas is like the closest team to them. And I know they got absolutely destroyed earlier in the year. But
that's the closest team. We got problems.
I do think that Dallas is the closest. Not that they're close. I think they're the closest. Now I'm waiting to see. I think Dallas is going to win. Are we talking about Dallas today?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit.
Okay. I think they're going to win on Sunday. And they have a tough schedule to end it out, Dallas. And I want to see that. So you got Dallas and Miami playing each other in a couple weeks. Those are the two teams where they have the same story. It's like, can you beat a good team? Can you beat a team?
Somebody's got to win.
A legit team. Somebody's got to win. One of those teams are going to say, yes, we can. And the other team's going to say, no, we can't. So if Dallas proves that they can beat good teams, that offense is clicking right now. And I think that's something that we need to realize with losing early in the season to the Niners. And I still would take the Niners head-to-head against Dallas, but that early season game, that offense wasn't clicking yet. You had Mike McCarthy. He took over play calling this year. That's an offensive system that needs to kind of get its feet on the ground with no more Kellen Moore and a new, different identity. And you got Tony Pollard being the full-time running back and guys like Jake Ferguson starting to emerge. Like, none of that had really happened yet. So I'll give them a pass for that loss. But, I mean, I just put in a bet the other day for San Francisco to win the Super Bowl. But I had to put it over Miami because I had to make the payout a little good because they're such freaking favorites right now. It's like you can't even, there's no profit. But I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, I think it's crazy to say that any other team is going to come out of the NFC right now. I mean, they just look so far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to give Dallas a pass for what happened at San Francisco. I mean, when you get blown out the way they got blown out, they're certainly not getting a pass for that. They have not beaten this team. They have had, we've talked about it, the issues they've had with San Francisco in the past. So Dallas is not getting a pass for getting blown out in San Francisco once again. But you mentioned it, just overall, San Francisco being the heavy favorite, do what you got to do to boost up your bets. I got to talk about this, though, because, and, kind of ties into Dallas here, because Philadelphia is going to have a tough test this weekend. Jalen Hurts, people want to say he's banged up still. Okay. You see David Carr. You see David Carr.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
David Carr saying that they should start Mariota because he can't get the best of Hurts while he's banged up.
Does he not understand that they have things to play for right now? Like, does he really think it's like last year where you're like, oh, they have the number one seed just locked up? Because I don't know if you watched what happened on Sunday, but they lost to San Fran, and they're about to play Dallas.
No, he doesn't even mean that. He thinks Mariota right now gives them the best chance to win while he recovers.
Yeah, no, he's
which is crazy. Yeah. It was a big clickbait, too, because I read it, and I read the tweet, and I'm like, did he just say that? And then you got to
listen, I understand that these guys say things for headlines and say things for attention, but that is, way beyond that. That is just
I'm going to become
complete blasphemy.
I'm going to start saying things for attention.
Yeah. Well, I think you already do.
Yeah, I do a little bit. Dallas, though, is going to play Philadelphia. Dallas has beaten them 5 straight times in Dallas.
Yeah.
And this is just, it's going to be a kind of a prove it for Philadelphia. Can you get the best of Dallas here? You just beat them at home. They played you tough. That game could have went either way. It was a great game. This is going to be interesting for Dallas. You're playing a good team. We've seen them struggle against good teams this year. I mean, they beat their first team with a winning record against Seattle. Whoop-de-freaking do. I don't really count that, though. I mean, whatever. Okay. You're supposed to beat Seattle, and you let up 35 points to a team that was struggling to score. Yeah. Whatever. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do against this Philadelphia team, and it'll be an interesting game.
I think Dallas is better than them at this point, to be honest with you. I think that
all the
Philly,
glazing that you did with Philly. Now,
well, listen,
I'm
I'm one to take out emotions and just look at things objectively. And I am telling you, from what I have seen, especially over the past couple weeks, the NFL is a "what have you done for me lately" type of business. That's really weird. I have Football Reference open right now, and it gave me like an ad, and the name of it was La Mer.
Oh, good.
La Mer. Get the Mer from Amazon.
The in Spanish.
Oh, very good.
Tense, yeah.
Very good. Very good. How's that going, by the way?
Don't not talk about it.
No? Not good?
Big update.
But anyways.
I got screwed, okay? I got screwed. I got boned. Not talking about it. Freaking Spanish teacher.
I hope he doesn't watch the show.
It's a she.
Yeah,
she doesn't. She's banned. I don't want you to watch.
She's banned.
Anyways, I will take the viewer, the listener.
Cry me a river. Come on.
Let me take
what was I talking about? Dallas?
Who the hell knows?
I don't know.
Business.
Just, yeah.
Football, business. What have you done for me lately?
What have you done for me lately? Thank
Philly.
you. Thank you. Good job. Good job.
You.
It's a what have you done for me lately type thing. And I look at that Philly defense, and it's been a concern, and I think it really got exploited the other day. And that passing attack also, I think Shane Steichen, going back to the Eric Bieniemy point before, I think the Shane Steichen loss is a big deal as well.
100%.
I mean, they are not, and you look at what the job that Steichen's doing in Indy right now. He's got them as a top 10 offense. He's got them at 7-5 with Gardner Minshew.
He's a beast.
No disrespect to Minshew. Minshew's respectable. She should be a starter in this league. He's a top 32 quarterback for sure.
Better as a backup.
I'm spiraling. Cowboys, I look at them the way they've been playing recently. I don't care if it's, they've only played one winning team. They look great. That offense, Dak looks the best he's ever looked in his career. Offense looks great. CeeDee Lamb is no doubt top 5 receiver in the league for me right now.
I would agree.
And Parsons has been playing great lately. I think he's got 4 sacks in his last 3 games. He's been playing really well. So I like Dallas a little more. I think they're going to win. They got the home advantage. They always play great in Jerry's world. I think they're a better football team right now.
Yeah, that's cool. Can't believe I'm about to defend Philadelphia. They're not. Their line play is better on both sides. I believe
the line play for Dallas is not bad. Like
no,
they have a good line.
It's better for Philadelphia.
You know what's weird? Hurts, and I'm not using this to say that the line hasn't been good as you think. Hurts is like the 6th most sacked quarterback in the league.
JM.
And I think, bruh, I literally just said it's not because of the line. I think he's holding on to the ball too long, and I think maybe that's on the offensive coordinator. I think maybe these guys aren't getting open. I think maybe it's too long of developing routes, but he's getting sacked more than he should be with that offensive line.
Did you see how long he was holding the ball for against San Francisco?
Oh, how funny was that with Javon Kinlaw getting his first sack in 3 years? Jalen Hurts just falling down. I hate to talk about my glorious king like this right now. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Jalen Hurts.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, we'll be disrespectful.
Come on, let's be real.
What?
Guy's handsome.
No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
Guy's handsome. You gotta admit it.
Reds and Diamondbacks are finalists for free agent left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez.
Oh, that's chills.
We'll talk about that in a minute. No, I'm definitely not going there with Hurts. But I do believe Philly's still a little better. We'll see, though, this weekend. I'm excited for this game, Sunday Night Football. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Big-time rivalry, and we'll see what happens. But
you hanging out on Sunday?
I don't think so.
What the hell is wrong with this?
I mean,
kid?
the week that I've had, and I'm
Oh
going to
yeah,
have,
no. God forbid I drive a couple towns over and have
yeah.
delicious food. Oh no, that's.
I think.
No.
I think I gotta just chill out.
Okay,
with that,
chill
right?
out. Yeah, chill out. Bro.
Either way,
Fire.
we're gonna talk about your Jets quick. And then,
Please no.
And then we're gonna get to some baseball, as I just mentioned. Eduardo Rodriguez is
Shut up. That's not the segue into base. Nobody gives a crap about Eduardo Rodriguez.
Is eyeing down his next team.
Yeah, great.
The
guy
Reds,
who waived his no trade clause, or who didn't waive his no trade clause to go to the Dodgers because he wanted to stay in Detroit. He doesn't deserve to be talked about.
Hey, there's some good things in Detroit that you're not hitting.
What's in Detroit?
Yeah.
Elaborate, please. Enlighten me.
They got Detroit style pizza there. It's very good.
Mid.
I bet you they don't have that in L.A.
Yeah.
All right. Where do we start with the Jets, man?
Nowhere.
I mean, it's nuts. You know, our favorite teams are obviously New York. So as the season has gone on, we've tried to make it a point to say, okay, they're both basically irrelevant. We're gonna stop talking about them. Okay, like, you know, enough's enough. And the Jets, they find themselves every week to make themselves relevant in bad ways that we can't avoid. I mean, you literally cannot avoid it. It's one of the biggest stories in football right now, that Zach Wilson was reluctant. Is that what I say?
Are we really about again? And like, this has been debunked multiple times. Wilson came out and said on himself that was BS. Aaron Rodgers said it was BS. Everybody in the Jets organization refutes it.
You know what's
But
funny?
there's some stupid leak from a reporter that says it, and it's like, oh, this is the problem with you. You buy into all the media BS, and you're like, oh, the New York media, they're going to eat Rodgers up. They're going to eat all this crap up. One little stupid fake leak gets out there, and it's like, oh, what a disaster it is. But guess what? None of the players have said anything bad. So all this drama that's being generated that you're talking about right now is from Diana Rossini on a tweet that she got from who the hell knows that's trying to make a name for themselves.
Okay, see, this is where you're wrong and you don't know journalism. That's number one.
Right.
You and Aaron Rodgers and everybody wants to make the media evil. And Donald Trump, you guys, all you want to do, media's evil, media's evil. And in reality, they're not really evil. They're just trying to tell the story. They're trying to get the stories. And I respect Diana Rossini, who works for The Athletic, who I'm pretty sure is owned now by the New York Times. You ever hear of them?
Yeah, I'm aware of the New York Times,
so,
Michael. Thank you.
You know, pretty major, newspaper and company.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't read.
I don't. I read The Athletic, though. And I read Diana Rossini. And I read, what is it, Zach Blatt, or whatever his name is?
Yeah, Zach Rosenblatt.
Who is also a great writer for the New York Jets, who I follow, by the way, for Jet News. He's very good at his job. You don't just, and Diana Rossini went on the Michael Kay show and said this, you don't just get to write this story. You don't just get to like, oh, I heard this from this random guy in the Jet organization, and they said this, and I'm just going to write it, and I'm going to post it. Like, you need serious sources to write the story, as she said. You need serious people to confirm it, more than one person or two people to confirm it, as she mentioned on the show. So I take her for her word.
Well, let me ask you this.
The story doesn't get reported.
If it's such a trusted source, then why would they tell Diana Rossini a negative thing about the team?
Listen, I don't know.
Why would they do that?
Listen, the one thing that Aaron Rodgers said that was right, after everything that was wrong, and by the way, he never debunked the story. He just called it chicken shit, and he called the leak a bad organizational move, and that's how organizations.
He said you're wrong, because he said what I just said, where somebody was trying to make a name for themselves, and that they're trying to paint Zach in a bad light, and that's not what he said. And then Saleh came out and said, why would he be here if he didn't want to play? And well, listen, I'm not gonna take Robert Saleh's word like he's had his hand sworn to the Bible. I'm not gonna trust.
What are they gonna do? Say he didn't want to play?
Merlo, he's playing this week, and he's excited about the opportunity. So I really don't think there's no point in even talking about this anymore, because it was clearly BS.
It's definitely not BS. It's definitely not BS.
I just think This whole thing, like, I don't get why the Jets are like this huge story right now. Like, okay, cool. There was this little mumbling about, okay, yeah, Zach Wilson didn't want to play this week, where, like I said, now he's playing. It's overblown. It's BS, and I really don't. There's no point in caring anymore.
I think it's a huge story, and yeah, he's playing this week. That's fine.
You're talking about journalism, which, by the way, is meant to entertain people, is meant to interest people. So of course they're always going to stretch the truth a little bit. You're telling me anything that you've ever said on this show, you 100% mean it, and you're like, maybe I was just feeling in the moment. I wanted to make a little bit of a bold statement there. You're telling me that's never happened to you?
The activity of profession of writing for newspapers, magazines, or news websites, or preparing news to be broadcast. That's the definition of journalism.
I understand what journalism means. Now put it in context.
Jim, reporters don't get to write stories like that just on the whim and report them.
Well, it's happened multiple times. But that happened thousands of times in sports, in any profession, where people get misinformation, where people speak in hyperbole, where whatever intentions they have of generating a headline, it happens all the time. There's an entire show dedicated to it called First Take.
Well, this is a story written from a news company.
Merlo, how often do we see BS like this all the time?
Not stories like this. And by the way, listen to what Roger said. He said the source, whoever did this, like he's saying this,
Merlo, it's not that difficult. He's saying that because he's saying, why is somebody that's a trusted source of the organization skewing the truth just to get their name out there? That's what he's saying. He's not saying this shouldn't have gotten out there. It's 100% true, but somebody's got loose lips. That's not what he meant. Okay, I watched the whole show, and that's not what he meant.
That's what it sounded like. Okay. That's 100% what it sounded like.
You know what I really think this is? I think that for whatever reason, this entire football season, off air and on air, you have loved to talk about Jets disaster, Jets disaster, Jets disaster. When the New York Giants, your favorite team, are in just as much of crap this year as we are. You're in a similar situation. You have the same exact record as us. Your quarterback is also out for the year. You have enormous questions about your future, more than us, because you don't even know who your quarterback's going to be next year, the year after that. You have a quarterback on contract right now who you want to cut in a year, who was supposed to be the savior of your franchise. And right now, you already have a quarterback who, in Tyrod Taylor, was the starter, signed as the backup, comes back after injury to replace a Tommy DeVito who's playing okay right now. He's doing good for what he's supposed to be doing. And he's not the quarterback. And Brian Daboll gets asked today, how come DeVito? And he says, I think he gives him the best chance to win. And then Tyrod Taylor gets interviewed in front of his locker room, and he says, did you hear what the coach said? They go, yeah. He goes, yep. Clearly pissed off, condescending response. Is there a big reaction out of that? No, because the Jets have been more in the national media this year because they were more hyped up. They were on Hard Knocks. They were the story of New York.
Are you done?
No, because it's all BS that you just love to deflect how awful the Giants situation has been this year, and the Jets have taken the national headlines.
And you're not letting me speak.
Oh, what a disaster it is. Go ahead.
Not letting me speak.
Have the floor, please. I'm getting Twitter notifications. Please be Juan Soto.
Tyrod Taylor is the backup quarterback of the New York Giants, who, by the way, newsflash, not going to be here next season, okay? Tyrod's not going to be here. You know who's going to be here next year? And
Daniel
if they
Jones.
want to be for a lot cheaper, well, yes, Daniel Jones is going to be here next year.
$40 million, by the way.
Tommy DeVito is going to be here, okay?
Fire.
So you know what? The Giants, who are out of it, right? The Giants are out of it. They've had a quarterback who's won 2 straight games.
Actually, they're not out of it. The New York Times, you love them. Oh, you love the New York Times. They actually just wrote an article today that the Giants have a chance to make the playoffs still. You love the New York Times. That's journalism. That's peak journalism right there.
Technically, the Jets still have a chance, too, and so do
Well, they're not getting articles written about it. They're just getting articles written about how their quarterback wants to cry because he doesn't want to play, which is 100% true, obviously, considering he's playing this weekend. And
rightfully so. He's
excited to play.
He shouldn't want to play, to be honest with you, but whatever. Yeah, Tommy DeVito, I don't really give a rat's ass who starts at quarterback because the Giants are out of it, and Tommy DeVito has a chance to actually show you something for the future. To be
What do you mean
possibly
show you something? You're really gonna so Tommy DeVito? That's the plans for the future.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Jesus Christ!
I'll show you something.
So Tommy DeVito could possibly be the backup quarterback of this team for the future. Can he show you something to be the backup for the next couple of years here? Tyrod Taylor does nothing for me to start. If Tommy DeVito goes out there on Monday Night Football and throws 3 interceptions in the first half, put Tyrod Taylor in. I don't really give a rat's ass at that point. But if Tommy DeVito can continue to build off of what he's done and show you he could be a competent backup quarterback in this league, that's at least something instead of starting Tyrod Taylor, who is leaving at the end of the year. So honestly, Tyrod Taylor, I don't give a crap if you're unhappy or not. And by the way, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all if the backup quarterback of the New York Giants is upset he's not playing. Of course he should be upset he's not playing. At least not Zach Wilson saying he doesn't want to go in there. And you want to bring up the Giant future? I don't know what the Giant future is. It's not that great. But you know what? At least they don't have quarterbacks saying they don't want to play.
It's just so hysterical how your team comes off a playoff appearance last year, wins a playoff game, signs their quarterback to a 4-year, $160 million extension, gets Darren Waller in the offseason, and all the Giants fans want to talk about is, oh, we can make the playoffs again this year. I'm not saying people were coming out saying you were going to win the NFC East. People with a head that was screwed on their shoulders would tell you that's not going to happen. But you guys had some pretty solid expectations for this year. This season has been an absolute disaster where you have no more faith in Daniel Jones. You already have plans to make Caleb Williams or Michael Penix or whoever the hell is going to be the next quarterback of the Giants. That's already in your plans right now. And there's going to be questions about the coach. There's going to be questions about the GM in the offseason. All that good stuff. But they just get a pass. Yeah, they're doing the right thing right now. They're putting Tommy DeVito out there, see what he's got. This wasn't supposed to be a, yo, let's put the undrafted kid from Syracuse that still lives at home with his mom, let's put him out there and see what he's got type of season. That's not what this was supposed to be. But of course, everything's all peachy and rainbows for the Giants. The Jets, though, laughing stock. And I'm not saying the Jets haven't been a laughing stock. The both of them are a laughing stock.
Jesus Christ.
The both of them are a laughing stock.
Okay. I want to say something, and then you go on and on and on, and then I forget what I want to say.
My point. Go ahead.
Do you want to know how many snaps Daniel Jones, Andrew Thomas, Saquon Barkley, and Darren Waller all play at the same time together? Because you mentioned those guys. You mentioned those guys. They played 40 snaps together. Okay, at the same time. They played
if only the Giants
40
knew.
Snaps.
Right. If only they knew, oh, we have a 28-year-old running back and a tight end who's known for having injury problems and had 1 or 2 good seasons in his NFL career.
Okay, that's fine. You want to bash them for that, whatever. Waller should have been expected to get hurt. Sure, whatever. You want to say that, whatever. But when you lose the left tackle and then you lose the quarterback to injury, there's nothing you can do in a season. Now, the Jets, who had this roster that was built for a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers coming here,
it wasn't built for a Super Bowl. That's what we know. I think the Jets front office got a pass because I think if Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback of the New York Jets right now, they'd be 6-6.
Well, coming into the season, and especially with that defense, which is a Super Bowl level defense, as we all know, they could have at least competed with a quarterback in there. The Giants roster, newsflash, was not at the Jet level coming into the season, as we all know. But nobody was predicting the Jets to be worse than the New York Giants. I actually have money on that. I have a bet on that, and the Jets are going to screw me here.
They were, but the Giants were supposed to shore up that offensive line. That was a big problem for them. Protect the quarterback.
They lost
Evan Neal.
They lost their franchise left tackle.
Merlot. Look at the rest of the line. The line is terrible. The Jets' line is terrible, and that's their fault. What an awful job they did. That's why their quarterback got hurt. That's why Zach Wilson's playing awful. That's why any quarterback, which, by the way, had that point that you made go where put Tim Boyle in there, put Trevor Siemian in there. I bet they'll do better than this kid. They're worse than Zach Wilson is.
Somehow they are.
So it's not the quarterback. It's the system. It's the offensive line. It's everything. Why is it that the Giants fail to build their offensive line and their quarterback gets hurt because of that? That's fine. They're not expected to be a contender and this and that. The Jets do it. What a joke. Organization. Idiots. Right.
Jim,
double standard. ridiculous.
You have the double standard because the Giants were not supposed to be the team that the Jets were this season.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
Way
yes,
underperforming.
it does.
They are way underperforming.
Of course they're underperforming.
Guess what? Why did my friends just text me, let's go? Why did my friends just text me, let's go? What?
Of course the Giants are underperforming, but...
Oh, let's go.
It's
Trade
done?
official.
Congratulations.
Love you, man. Anyways, back to why you're an idiot.
The Giants did not have the same expectation as the New York Jets.
Merlo. At least the Giants actually had previous success in stone and something to build off of. The Jets' projections were all what they are, projections. They're all based off of hypotheticals and on paper and this and that. The Giants actually proved that they could be a playoff team, even though we both know they overachieved last year. They were building off of something. You cannot tell me that the Giants haven't, injury or not, severely underperformed their expectations this year. If Daniel Jones was healthy, if Andrew Thomas was healthy, if Darren Waller was healthy, this team is a 6-win team at most. They got freaking destroyed
you know what?
week 1. They played
Jay,
I'm not.
We're done. We're done with this argument because you're wrong. Because you're just flat out. You're wrong, Jay. You're just wrong. So we're not having this
Even
discussion.
though they got embarrassed multiple times at the beginning of the year and
you're
looked
wrong.
Awful against Seattle. They got shellacked by Dallas. They got shellacked by San Fran, and they barely skated by the Cardinals with Josh Dobbs. My bad.
Well, actually, they actually lost by the least amount of points in San Francisco by both of their rivals.
All right, let's segue into baseball.
No, because you're wrong, Jay. You're just clearly wrong. They lost 2 close games. They didn't lose those 2 close games. They have 6 wins. They have a couple of more wins. They're a 7 to 8 win team, which I predicted, which you predicted they would be.
No, they're not.
And that's where we're at.
I did predict that's what they would be, and they were going to go under my expectations.
Well, you're just wrong. Because if they don't lose their starting left tackle, their starting quarterback, their starting running back, and their star tight end, they are not as bad. Again, I do not believe they would have been a playoff team. I'm not that crazy. But to say that the Giants would still be a 5 to 6 win team if all of these guys got hurt, even with the way they started the season, with Jones still in there because they did not look good the first 3 weeks of the year, I do believe they would have won 7 to 8 games where we thought they would be. Okay, I don't know what the future looks like for the Giants, but clearly it's not that great. But I don't think they would have been this bad if they didn't suffer the amount of injuries. But you're the only one that's allowed to go on the injury. You're the one that's allowed to make the injuries for your team, the excuses for your team. But the Giants
I
are
literally
not.
just said that the Jets with Aaron Rodgers would be a 6-6 team. I don't think this roster is good enough.
The roster is not good enough, but the Giants, if they didn't lose these guys, would not be a 5 to 6 win team. That's just not true.
Yes, they would.
That is just not true.
Their
defense.
I'm begging you, for the love of God, move on to baseball because now I have something to be excited about, and I'm done with this.
Yeah. All right. By the way, the Reds are not a finalist for.
Yeah, I know. I heard that crushed my heart.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna start there with the Yankees. They have completed a trade for Juan Soto. It is done. Good job on us to wait and not start with baseball as we wanted to.
That's actually crazy timing. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, Michael King. What's his name? Gavin Thorpe.
Drew Thorpe.
Drew Thorpe. Excuse me. Johnny Brito, Kyle Higashioka, and one more that I'm forgetting his name for Juan Soto and Trent Grisham. Juan Soto in the perfect stadium for himself, for his career. Mm-hmm. It's done. It's finally done.
It's done.
Took all day.
Grisham and Soto says it's now completed. The teams are going to make it official sometime tonight. That's coming from Joel Sherman. I don't know who else is reporting it right now, but yeah, the deal is done. We've known the deal is going to be done. I mean, we texted each other this morning saying it's going to happen today. I mean, it seemed immediately after the Verdugo trade yesterday, it was like, all right, it seems like they're gearing up for the Soto trade now because we weren't sure if that was taking them out of Soto. I guess we'll just dive right into, there's no reason, and I think talking about the returns, right? I mean, King is a tough loss for the Yankees, no doubt. They gave up some, Drew Thorpe's a guy who is really impressing in the minor leagues right now. So definitely it's not
they
just
gave
some,
up a nice
they gave
amount
up
for a guy on a 1 year.
Which I think they anticipated they were going to have to do, and that's what I anticipate they're going to have to do. Where this one's going to sting a little bit because when you're getting a player the caliber that Juan Soto is, it's really going to sting. Where should we start? I mean, I guess we'll just start with how the Yankees are going to look now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Soto's not a outfielder who's going to play the center field. I think you put him in left field, you put him in right field. For right now, I'd go Verdugo left, Judge center, and Soto in right.
That's their plan.
They just got Grisham, so Grisham will be the fourth outfielder. They're not anticipating for Stanton to be a reliable guy for them at all. And I mean, that's the smart thing to do because he hasn't been that. Because now you also have to worry about the production. Like Brian Cashman said himself, when he probably should have bit his tongue a little bit, when Stanton was on the field, you at least got the production and you dealt with the injury. But now you have the problem of the injuries are there, and when he is on the field, he hasn't been performing.
Well, he's definitely got to play less, and I think that's a good thing. I think if you're playing him in the right situations, if you're platooning Stanton, I think, I really do believe that, and just forget about what he's being paid. Put him in the right situations. I think you're going to see a Giancarlo Stanton that's A, motivated, and B, productive for you. So put him in the right situations where you're going to be productive. I still got some question marks about the team overall.
Oh, 100%.
I don't think it definitely makes them, one of the favorites in the American League, but I definitely still have questions, and they're going to be relying on a lot of guys to have bounce back seasons and, perform to what we expect them to. Anthony Rizzo dealt with a lot last season. What does Anthony Rizzo look like? DJ LeMahieu wasn't that great last year. What does he look like? And, Glaber's had a very up and down career. Does he, continue and build off of what he did last season, which was a pretty nice season for Glaber? These guys do have to perform. Obviously, you have Aaron Judge, and you have the best 1-2 punch in baseball that any lineup can provide. Does Anthony Volpe take those next steps and start to develop into the player that they thought? Does Carlos Rodon, become the player they do? And I believe he is. And I think a lot of people are just throwing Rodon to the side. Yeah. I don't think Rodon's as good as he was the past couple of seasons, but Rodon's not as bad as he was.
I mean, this has been the course of his career, though. He's dealt with injuries. He's had his ups and downs. He's had his 6-7 ERA seasons before, and then he comes out like 2020, 8.22. He pitched 7 innings that year. I'm not even going to count that. Please 2019, the year before, he had a 5.19 ERA. He barely pitched. He was still hadn't really broken out as a pitcher in the league yet, and then his next 2 seasons, he was a top 5 pitcher in baseball. So I agree. I think it's just you can't. He's 31 years old. You can't just throw a guy to the curb. It's not like he's washed up now and this and that. I think with Rodon, we'll see the Yankees pursue Yamamoto if that's going to be serious. Still, I think it is, and we'll see if they're able to land him. I know you're my crosstown rival and your favorite team, the New York Mets. They're going to have something to say about that, but I don't view them right now as a top contender in the American League. I think they still have a lot to go because I think you look at this lineup, 1 through 9, it's good. It's more balanced now. You have 4 lefties and 5 righties. When Dominguez comes back, you're going to have a switch hitter in the mix. I still am concerned about the depth, especially the infield depth and the pitching. Now you give up Mike King. That's a big replacement because Mike King was starting games for you last year.
Right, it was good.
He serves as an innings eater in the bullpen. And we're not talking about Ryan Yarborough innings eating here. We're not talking about, just go out there, throw a couple innings for me, maybe give up a couple. Like Mike King, it was an elite relief pitcher.
What I found really interesting, just back to Soto quick, he would have hit 27 home runs if he played for the Yankees last year.
Yeah.
That was
San Diego's San Diego's might be number 1 in park factor or behind Colorado, but it's a very hitters-friendly ballpark. Yankee Stadium is like the 18th ranked hitters-friendly ballpark.
Yeah, okay, bro.
Everybody's like, oh, short porch.
Yeah, you got the short porch, bro. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Really, really upset to see Kyle Higashioka go. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
I'm sure Garrett Cole right now is sitting there. Yeah. He's probably crying.
He's probably requesting a trade to the Padres.
Yeah, he's already requested
my personal catcher's gone. That's BS.
That's BS.
It's tough, man. Shout out Higgy, man. He's like 35 years old.
Yeah, that's tough, dude.
He's been in the league a long time.
Bros needed Kyle Higashioka in the trade to complete it. That's what was holding it up. Yankees are like, we'll pay for him too if you want.
Please go.
You want somebody else too? You want our other backup catcher? Take him, please. Jesus.
Let me look right. Let me look right into this camera. If you're about to say something
about Kyle Higashioka,
let me look right into this camera. No.
Oh, okay.
To all you ridiculous, and I know a lot of you, I interact with a lot of you in my daily life, weekly life.
You're one of them.
Whatever. To all you ridiculous, spoiled-ass Yankee fans that love to just bitch and complain about the way we don't spend any money, we don't get any stars. I mean, can you wake up and smell the freaking roses? Did I not want to bash my TV watching every Yankee game last year? You're damn right I did. Do I not agree, though, that this front office goes out and gets the big names when they need to? Yeah, they do. They do that.
Took a couple of years.
Brian Cashman
took a couple of years for him to do it.
Took a couple of years. The whole, ever since the Bryce Harper, that was like peak, like, mad, like, why aren't we getting these players? When he said that they're not interested in Bryce Harper or Manny, he literally said, we're not interested in Bryce Harper or Manny Machado.
There was a reason. I mean, he was, they had traded for Stanton.
Yeah.
It was the wrong move, but they traded for Stanton. They had gotten Stanton. That was the reason why they were out on him. Listen, not to call you a hypocrite, but I mean, you were out on the Yankees. I was gonna say, well, okay. You were out.
Are you questioning my fandom?
Not your fandom and your loyalty to the Yankees, but I think your loyalty to the sport of baseball.
The Jets fully occupied my brain from like June until like 2 weeks ago. Once Judge ran into the fence, I was like, well, this team's a joke. This sport is a joke. And you're right. I was venting. I was annoyed.
You're upset. Listen, it's all right. I get upset too.
Yeah.
I had made a statement that if Shohei Ohtani signed with the Braves, I'd be done.
Yeah.
I was done.
There you go.
As a fan. Yeah. And it's not going to happen. Thank God it won't. But, that's just something you had to throw out there. But, Soto's a Yankee. I mean, again, we got the official word just now. Kind of just feels like it happened early this morning. Mm-hmm. Kind of just felt like it was.
It was very dragged out. It definitely took away, like, as you could tell, the excitement. I'm very excited that this happened, but like, it's less of an excitement feeling compared to some of the other big deals that have gone down because, I mean, I basically processed this about 8 hours ago that this was going to happen.
So, just for comparison, it's going to be related to the Mets. I'm using them as an example. So when the Mets had traded for Lindor, however many years ago, it was out of nowhere. There were no rumors. There was nothing like, oh, they're interested in it. It was just, oh my God, breaking news, this happened.
Right.
And the way they've kind of worked under the Cohen era is it's a lot of moving in silence.
Right.
And you're kind of like surprised when something happens for the most part, especially with these bigger moves. And this was obviously the opposite of that. I mean, Cashman and Boone were talking openly about Juan Soto at the winter meetings. Yeah. So would you rather it be like this, where you're like, you kind of know what's going to happen, or would you rather like
I'd rather
Yankees
it be
like
just
have no clue? You have no clue the Yankees are talking to the Padres, and bang, just like, oh, Juan Soto's the Yankee.
Second option all day long. Because even like, we'll talk about the Verdugo trade now. Like, I hate Alex Verdugo. Like, I always hated him as a Red Sox. Now I'm going to be forced to like him, and I'm sure he'll grow on me and he'll become my favorite Yankee somehow. But when that news broke last night, or when people are listening to this 2 nights ago, I was like, whoa, what the hell? Like, that was fully out of nowhere. I mean, his name got thrown around a little, like, oh, this is a potential target for the Yankees.
I feel like I read a couple of weeks ago that they were interested
in Verdugo. But there was really no, like, any steam behind it. Like, there was no momentum towards a deal. They were, oh, the Yankees and the Red Sox have been talking. None of that. So that was refreshing, getting that alert and being like, oh, whoa, that's something that happened. All right, that's surprising. But yeah, this I hate the drag down. Dude, I went through it with Rodgers. Oh my God, those were the longest months of my life.
And the insiders today, and we were talking about this before, like the amount of, and I think you can kind of see it now. Yeah. You're on my side with how like drawn out it was. Every half hour, one of these baseball insiders had nothing better to do at the winter meetings at a beautiful hotel with all these baseball people around.
Oh my God, journalists creating drama.
What? They got a tweet. Oh, Juan Soto, it's getting closer. Oh, it's getting closer. They're engaged. They're close to finalizing medicals, going over medicals, drawing out. Like, Jesus Christ. It was so annoying all day. It was reading Twitter, like, we get it. It's close. Just tell me when it's official now. I don't care. Unless the deal's falling through and it's not going to happen. Okay, let me know. But if not, like, we kind of understand where the deal's going and what's going to happen. Okay, so Juan Soto's a Yankee. Very quickly before we wrap up, Eduardo Rodriguez, he's a Diamondback, 4 years, $80 million.
Chills.
The 2 Japanese players, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They will make their decision. Yamamoto probably later in the month. The reports are that Ohtani's going to be at the end of this week. I don't really believe it.
What's he gonna do? Is he gonna send a telegram in, or is he gonna?
I don't know.
Is he gonna write it and put it in a treasure chest and bury it?
I think he's gonna announce it.
Yeah,
I think he's going to announce it in some way. I mean, on social media.
On the other, on one hand, I make jokes. On one hand, it's nice that he's not like an egotistical maniac who's like making this like the decision like LeBron did. It's nice that he's not doing that. On the other hand, from a GM lens, from a team owner lens, from just a baseball lens, it's really annoying that he's not announcing anything and he doesn't want anything getting out.
The stories today that came out about him, kind of not making this fun at all and kind of like making it, damning to teams if they, even release that they met with him. It's really just not. It's not good for baseball. It's not supposed to be, but they can make this a little bit better.
So, can they? I know there's, it's not a salary cap sport, so it's not like baseball or football where people are just signing nonstop in the beginning as soon as they're eligible to. Can they adopt some sort of deadline though for like, I don't know how the terms of that would work, but if they could somehow make a deadline and be like, okay, all unrestricted free agents need to be signed to a team by whatever specific, December 10th. Or else there's some sort of penalty, or I don't know how the hell they could work it out. But if they could do something like that, like please do it. It's just so dragged out.
It sucks. I don't know if there's going to be any way.
It's the worst offseason of any sport.
It is because the possibilities are fun to talk about, and the trades, and the money and the contracts and things like that. It's funny to talk about because there's just endless possibilities in baseball because of the no salary cap. But yeah, I mean the ability to try and get more money and waiting out is probably better for the players to try and get more money. It sucks. It really does. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Soto is a Yankee. Yamamoto not so much. He's not signed yet to anybody. And I think it's gonna be till the end of the month around Christmas where we get a decision on him. But Ohtani, like I mentioned, it's close, and it sucks for baseball that it's going on like this. But
it's close. But who's it close to?
I have no clue. I really don't. I got a weird feeling.
There's no way the Blue Jays. I'm telling you, there's no way the Blue Jays got no shot.
I think this is how I would look at it. Okay, I think it's 25% Dodgers, 25% Giants, 25% Blue Jays, and 25% Angels. And I think there's a chance.
I think it's just tied across the board.
Yeah, I don't think he knows yet, and I think there's a chance he does go back to the Angels.
That I would hate.
I would hate
honestly
it too,
if I had one preferred destination for him, it's San Fran. That'd be nice to see, like because the Dodgers are a pain in the ass. San Fran's not really projected to be a huge contender next year anyway, so that'd be a nice addition for them. That's a good market for him, good place to play. Maybe they are a playoff team next year. I don't want to see him in the AL East, obviously. I don't want to see him as a Blue Jay.
That'd be kind of fun.
And I don't think that's the place for him to go. I mean, he's the most marketable guy in the whole entire league, and you're going to send him to Canada?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they did a lot of renovations to the stadium. They made it nice. They were 8th in attendance, and they got a really rich owner. So I think it's definitely a possibility. I'm not like you. I don't think it's completely out of the question. There were rumors that he was talking about it throughout the season, that was a place that he could see himself. So, I don't know. I mean, I wish he would come to New York, but he doesn't want to come to New York, so whatever. I do like the Giants for him. I really do. The Giants are going to land a star, whether it's this year or next year. They're going to get somebody. They're begging players to take their money.
It kind of seems we see this every year where you see a player that's kind of hanging back and waiting for the other big guys to sign, and then he kind of gets an overpay from a desperate team. It seems like Bellinger is going to be that guy this year.
No, you know who it really is? It's Snell.
Yeah.
Snell, I'm telling you right now, Blake Snell is going to be a San Francisco Giant or a Boston Red Sox. 80% Giant, 20% Red Sox, because I believe they'll miss out on Yamamoto. They'll be desperate for a starting pitcher to go along with Logan Webb.
There's a place to go pitch.
And they will sign, and they will sign Snell.
If there's a place to go pitch.
By the way, you know what? You'll get your money, and you want to rub this stigma off of, you're inconsistent, you're overrated. Right. Go pitch there, man. Yeah. That would be great for Snell's career. 100%. And they're going to be willing to give him the money. That would be a spot for Yamamoto, too. I could definitely see. I mean, that makes total sense. I think players should go. I want to go play there. I mean, we argued about that before. I think that's a great place to go play. Great jerseys, good organization, great stadium. It's not a bad place to go play. Just the state tax sucks.
Now, the last thing, just for Soto. It comes with a bit of anxiety, the trade, because there's the piano hanging over the head of, well, the guy's only 1 year under contract.
Yeah.
So if the Yankees could somehow work out a way to extend the guy, I would be ecstatic, and that'd be great for them. I don't think the odds are exactly in their favor. I think Juan Soto is a guy who doesn't usually hit the open market at that age, at that talent level. But then again, we said the same thing about Rafael Devers, and Rafael Devers is a damn good ball player. He's not the level of a Juan Soto, but he's right behind. He's a top 25 player in the game. And you look at a Rafael Devers and you said, whoa, a guy that age hitting the open market, oof. Wait till you see how much money he gets. And he signed an extension with the Red Sox before he even did. So if I'm Juan Soto, you not to be Yankee boy, but it's the New York Yankees. It's a very respected organization. It's the biggest organization in the game. This is your third different team now. Do you want to test it out and make it 4? I don't know. If they come at him with a blank checkbook, basically, I could see him sign an extension before the season starts.
Was that your best example? Rafael Devers? That was the best comparison for
how often do 25-year-old superstars hit the open market?
Yeah, Rafael Devers also. I like Devers. I'm a fan of Devers.
All right, tough guy. Name it. Let me hear your example.
I don't have an example, but Devers is not on the level of Soto whatsoever.
It's about as close as you can get for a 25-year-old.
He also has played with the team for his entire career.
Who else you got?
That was not a good example.
You got nothing. Listen, I'm talking about the player. I'm talking about what team he was on. I said a 25-year-old player to hit the open market like that is rare. The closest thing we maybe were going to see to it was Rafael Devers. He signed an extension.
Yeah, but Rafael Devers signing an extension.
You know what? Why don't you go
in comparison to the guy that's now on his third team?
How about that? How's your offseason going? Huh? How's that going for you? Yeah, look at that.
I'm gonna throw it.
Wait till Yamamoto's got the number 18 on with pinstripes.
Yeah, listen.
Wait for that. Chills.
Listen, you guys. You've stayed quiet the past couple of off seasons. Now you're starting to feel like how it is to with the big boys know how to spend. So congratulations to you. It's been a while since you've been here.
You got anything good? Anything happening to you this week? Anything to share?
We got the Islanders tomorrow night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'll be working the game there, and I'll be at the Heisman Trophy ceremony this weekend. We'll be talking to some good players and some coaches possibly. I'm very excited for that. So check out
if they're looking for an agent. We got them.
No, we're good.
So that's our new announcement. Hardline Sports Talk Agency.
No,
right now, we just decided.
What I will say to Jaden Daniels, listen, dude, Giants.
Yeah. Please.
Jalen High.
Is he going to be a high pick?
Top 6 pick.
Wow. You think he's that guy that shoots up the boards?
Yeah, I can't wait for draft season. Not only because our teams are going to be picking high, but these quarterbacks, man, it's going to be a really exciting draft this year. So we'll definitely have some great draft coverage this year. Yeah. All right, that's going to do it. A long episode here, but we finally got the breaking news that we've been waiting for all day. Juan Soto's a Yankee. So, look out for our picks this weekend on the 3-Star No Gambling Show. It's just a way too busy weekend. It's really late right now. So look out for our picks. Don't forget the giveaway on our Instagram. Go check that out. Go tag 3 friends. Follow all the instructions to enter. And, have a great week.